For learning outcome number 4 of Module 9, we're going to be talking about the pharynx and the esophagus. And basically, these are part of the digestive tract. And there's not much that happens in these two compartments because they're just a passageway from the mouth to the stomach. The pharynx, which we talked already about when we were talking about the respiratory system, and we did mention back then that it will be involved also in the digestive system, and it's also part of the throat, or can be called the throat. So it will receive the food and the air from the mouth in case you're breathing air from your mouth, and it will definitely receive air from the nasal cavities when you're inspiring from the nasal cavities. And when food enters the pharynx, then involuntary muscle contractions will close off the air passageways to allow the food to enter into the esophagus instead of into the nasal cavity. Now, all this will be a review, but the pharynx does run from the posterior oral and nasal cavities all the way to the opening of the esophagus and the larynx, which basically start at the same level. It will be divided into 3 subdivisions. The most superior one is the nasopharynx, which is going to be involved in the breathing, and the other 2 subdivisions are the oropharynx and the laryngopharynx, and these 2 are going to be used for breathing and for digestion. The pharynx will help a little bit with the swallowing process, in a way that the skeletal muscles of the pharynx, when they contract, they will raise and they will also expand the pharynx to receive the bolus of food. And once the bolus passes through the pharynx, then there are going to be specific muscles that are called constrictor muscles that will constrict in the pharynx, and it will force the bolus into the esophagus, and this will initiate peristalsis and move the bolus into the esophagus. So it basically pushes the bolus from the pharynx into the esophagus. And usually during this swallowing process, the soft palate and the uvula, they will rise reflexively to close off the entrance to the nasopharynx, and this prevents the food from entering the nasal cavity. And at the same time, the larynx, more specifically the epiglottis, it actually folds inferiorly to be able to cover the glottis, and this prevents the food from entering into the trachea and going down into the esophagus. That way it sort of directs the food from entering into the esophagus instead of the trachea. Next, we have the esophagus, which is basically this muscular tube that connects the pharynx to the stomach. As we can see over here, the upper esophageal sphincter, it will control the movement of food from the pharynx into the esophagus. Therefore, once the food enters the esophagus, there will be these rhythmic waves of peristalsis that will push the food in the esophagus towards the stomach, and they will pass through the lower esophageal sphincter before they enter the stomach. Recall that these sphincters, they are made up of muscles that surround the tubes, and they will serve as these valves that close the tube when the sphincters contract and opening it when they relax. So the lower esophageal sphincter relaxes to allow the food to pass into the stomach, and then contracts to prevent the stomach acids from backing up into the esophagus. As you can imagine, when the lower esophageal sphincter it does not close completely, then the contents from the stomach can go back into the esophagus, and this causes what we call a heartburn or a gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, which is actually very uncomfortable because the contents from the stomach are very acidic, and it sort of burns the lining of the esophagus, and that's why it's called a heartburn, because the esophagus actually runs behind the heart, and it does give that sensation that there's a burning right behind the heart. With regards to the histology of the esophagus, it's mainly made up of non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. So this is why when you eat, for example, a tortilla chip and you don't chew it well enough and it scrapes your throat as it goes down, it's actually okay because there are several layers of the esophagus, but it's actually better if you chew it well enough for it not to scrape the lining of the esophagus.